So how does education produce freedom for African Americans in today's society? So citing from the Pressed bookshelf, it stated that a lot of Africans battled from or to become literate because they were not able to have the resources. They were not allowed to attend schools. It was actually a crime for them to learn how to read and write, and the only books available to them were written by white supremacists and abolitionists. So obviously it was not helpful to them. So African Americans used Noah Webster's, which is the elementary spelling book, aka the Blueback Speller, and a lot of this book was used to decode written English. So instead of it being like public with the C, it'd be like public, okay. And the Webster's book sold about 5 million copies by 1818. And this book helped a lot of enslaved African Americans kind of enter into their first step of being able to be literate and be able to learn how to read and write. A lot of them taught themselves how to read and write because they weren't allowed to go to school. And a lot of the white Southerners kept the books and the education away from African Americans because they knew that this was such a powerful thing to have. Education is so powerful in so many ways, and being able to learn how to read and write was something that African Americans could hold over white Southerners and white abolitionists and supremacists' head, because it was something that gave African Americans power because they were educated. In white schools, the texts were intended to convince young white Southerners that slavery was a biblically approved institution, and that it was okay, and that black slaves were better off than poor whites, which makes no sense. And this was put into classroom values and taught at a young age, and this was introduced into published books into these white Southern schools. So education, yeah, it's a huge power to have over somebody, and for the longest time, white supremacists, abolitionists, white Southerners tried to hide this away and keep this to themselves because they knew the impact that it had and the power that it had to change the African American community and African American history. Ida B. Wells, for example, she was educated enough and she was able to teach rural country schools and to educate young black children. She wanted to share her knowledge with as many African Americans as she could, as many African American children and people who wanted to learn as she could. And this helped pave a way for many other African Americans to have over their head, because once they were freed, a lot of them didn't have anything. They didn't have land, they didn't have livestock, they didn't have money. So education and the power of having education and being literate and learning and knowing how to write and read was something that they could have, something that they could have over the white people. And that's why I believe that education is a way of freedom. It helped them pave a way. It helped them to be able to go to school and to make a difference and impact in the African American community, in the world, and in history.